Hey, my name is HY. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm very excited to have you here. So, I'm a big believer in self-healing, and I believe that tarot can be a great tool for that and to really look inwards and see what really resonates with you. So, I've done a tarot reading today about confidence, and yeah, I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the reading. Bye!
Hi everyone, welcome to a pick a card reading with me. Today we have two piles for you, pile 1 and pile 2. If you've never done a pick a card reading before, the concept is you pick the card that you're most drawn to, and then you go down into to the description where I have put timestamps for each pile. And today's video is what is something that can boost your confidence? Like, what do you need to hear now that will really help you in your journey? So yeah, pick which card you want and we'll see you there. So for those of you that picked pile 1, this will be your reading. I have some cards picked out for you, but basically today it's what do you need to hear to boost your confidence? So as always, this is a general reading, so I always say take what resonates. Not everything might not resonate because it's a general reading, it's not specific, but yeah, hopefully this will help gain some clarity.
Hey, it's me from the future. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I realized as I was editing, I forgot to talk about the selenite crystal. So, some of the benefits, it's a very cleansing and purifying crystal. It's often used to cleanse spaces and objects, and you can even use it to cleanse other crystals that you might have. It's also great to enhance spiritual connection, so if you want to use it during your meditations. It also promotes mental clarity, so if you ever feel confused, this can really be helpful. It also supports emotional balance, so to help reduce anxiety and create a sense of peace. And it's also a very protective stone, so if you want a protection from negative energy, this can be really good as well. Just wanted to jump in and add this bit. Back to the video.
So, what do we have for you today? Page of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, Justice, and the Ten of Swords. Okay, so I know this one is a bit of a shocking imagery, so let's just get to this. We'll build to it. We'll discuss. So, let's see. Queen of Pentacles, Justice, and the Ten of Swords. Okay, so I know this one is a bit of a shocking imagery, so let's just get to this. We'll build to it. We'll discuss. So, let's see. So, this is the Page of Wands. So, in the traditional tarot, Wands is associated with fire, with action, with doing, to get things doing. And the page, if you think of the archetype of a page, it's someone who's new to the field, or they're just about learning something. So you could be starting a new project and you're quite new to it, but you're taking action and you're doing. And I think there's something that is very is really lighting you up. And what I love about this card, I think it's a red panda, and I just love how curious this red panda always looks. He looks like he's heading towards this light. He's doing something that's really lighting him up. And I also love how old this looks. So there's wisdom, you have wisdom in what you're doing, but it's new, and you're growing. This is what these leaves mean. You're growing. And yeah, I absolutely love how, yeah, you're facing this with a lot of fun and a lot of curiosity. I think that's kind of what this card is saying. Now, the Queen of Pentacles. So Pentacles is related to the earthly realm, which means all the material goods. So it could be money, could be things. And also, if you think of the archetype of a queen, it's someone who is very much in her power or in their power, but has also is attuned to their body and is attuned to their like softer side. Or when I say softer side, I mean more like, because feminine energy is often sits more in the body. And I think there's a lot of like softness and roundness in that. So that's what I mean by that. Whereas the masculine is more about, action and doing and straight lines, and it's very like intellectual thinking. So if we were to look at it upright, let's look at it upright before I actually look at the reversal. So I think, often if it's reversed, it could also mean that some of these elements are blocked, that maybe you're having a hard time finding your authority or like finding your way of being that boss. It could also mean that you're not listening to your body enough, that like you are very stuck in your head and you do what you think is right. But all of us really need to tune into our bodies. I think it's very easy to forget to tune into our bodies and to just want to control everything with our minds. And I think it's very normal. I think we all do it. I think we've all been guilty of doing it. And I think as I've grown older, I try to tune in more to my body, because our body has a lot of wisdom if we choose to listen. And sometimes, you could be working at something and just feel so drained because it's not lighting you up. So also, if you know your human design, so I'm very big into human design as well. So if you know your human design, you can follow your strategy and authority. So what I mean by that, for people who don't know what human design is, so human design is like astrology. It's a system that I personally feel can be like a self-help tool, because that's how I see astrology, as like a way to kind of understand yourself better. And as always, you take what resonates and you ignore the rest. But human design, basically, if you're new to human design, the three most important things, which is like the equivalent of like your sun, moon, and rising in astrology, is your energy type and your strategy and your authority. So your energy type, there are 5 different energy types, and basically everyone is one of these 5. And that will kind of tell you how your energy operates in this world and how you're meant to operate in the most aligned way. And then also your authority is basically how you make decisions. So everyone makes decisions in a different way. Either you have to, if you have like an emotional authority, that means that you have to, definitely, everyone needs to feel their emotions, but for emotional authority, they basically have to like have their emotional waves. And then after that, over time, you can make a decision based on how it makes you feel. And it's good for you to wait. Whereas someone else who has like a sacral authority, they need to listen to their gut, like at once. It's instant. So I really suggest you look up your human design, because that will really tell you how you're meant to make decisions and listen to your body and understand. Because I think sometimes we just get so bogged down by so many stimulus at work, or in work, but in life, you're like overstimulated. There's a lot going on. You don't know if this is my ego, is this my body? So it's just a tool that can help. And if it resonates, if you feel called to look it up. If you don't, back to the reading. I think kind of what like comes out to me is like this owl is really, the look of the owl is really frowning. And there's something to do with balance, I feel, in your life right now, that you think of balance a lot. So the reason why I say think is because the sword in tarot is associated with the fire. No, the sword in tarot is associated with the air sign, and air is often associated with thinking and the intellect. So there's something here that you're really thinking deeply about. And I think it's about how do you balance all of these things that you have, this light and this dark. And I also think for some of you, it's also about maybe confronting a little bit of your shadow side, your darker side, that maybe you feel a bit of shame. And it's only through kind of recognizing that and integrating that can you really feel balanced. And I think it's been a lot on your mind. And I just can't get over the frowning. I don't know why. I think the frowning to me just says that, like, it's something that you're so, like, perplexed about, that you're trying to think your way through this. And you're really trying to find this balance, but it might not be something you can think through. I think it's something that you just need to hold in yourself, that, like, you have this dark and this light. And that is, obviously very normal, but you hold these two truths and you're trying to think your way out of it, but really you might not be able to think your way out of it. And this is maybe also why you're feeling blocked. It's to your body, is that you need this you need to be able to connect more with your body to fully integrate both of these sides. And right now you're so confused because you're trying to think your way through it, but it's hard. And I don't know if you would be able to. I think there is a part of you that needs to listen to your body. And I know it's easy for me to sit here and be like, listen to your body, but what does that actually practically mean? So it could be sitting in meditation. Obviously, if you're new to meditation, it can take a while to kind of drop into your body and to really listen. Sometimes it's also baby steps of learning, like, what feels good to you, or like what makes you happy, or like what lights you up. So let's say that you love animals. For the sake of this reading, you love animals, and you know for sure that lights you up 10 out of 10. And that can kind of be your barometer. What else can light you up? Maybe not 10 out of 10, but to get as close to that 10. So yeah, it's those are like ways you can listen to your body. Another way is also, I've been through this journey of emotional healing myself. And sorry, I suddenly got this wave of just sadness, and I don't know, maybe it's like from my own journey, but oh, that was really I don't know what that is. I don't know if any of you guys are feeling the sudden wave of emotion as I'm talking. Because it's really sad when you feel really disconnected from your body, because there's a lot of wisdom there. Like this owl is wise, even though the owl, maybe also the owl is scowling because you're not listening to the body, you're just looking. Maybe that's more what it is. He's like angry. This is your body being angry at you because you're just trying to think your way out of it. And really, with these matters, you can't. And you have to go through it. And part of going through it is just listening, is just feeling your emotions. So you take out your conscious mind and you listen and you sit with your body and you just listen to the emotions that come up. So let's say it's anger or sadness is now like, I did not expect to feel this wave of sadness come through, and I'm not really sure what it's trying to say, but I think it's just like, I think there's a bit of sadness of having ignored part of yourself for so long. And, I need to also bring this back to confidence, that maybe this is why you're having a hard time feeling confident or need that boost in confidence, is because you're doing all these things that you think are right, you think is balanced, but your body is protesting. Your body is saying, no, this isn't what you're meant to do. If you're drained, but this is strategically really smart, but you're feeling drained, or you're feeling resistance, you have to listen to that. You have to know that that is not meant for you. That's totally fine that it's not meant for you, because something will. And when it does, it will light you up. And yeah, I always say go back to your authority, obviously. But I think in general, some people need to listen to this like being lit up more based on your human design, of course. But I do think that when things feel effortless or fun, those are just big tellers that this is really good. Now, the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords. Now, I know, like I said in the beginning, this is a daunting looking card. Don't get me wrong. But I think going through this journey has given me a bit more clarity of what this could be saying. And also, don't be scared of the dauntingness. Like, sometimes I think it just, like, looks really big. But, you know, when we actually break it down, it does not have to be scary whatsoever. And I think we're following the same theme of what we've been talking about. So swords, like I said earlier, are related to air, which is related to intellect, thinking, and it's a bit of like the death of the ego. Am I so bold to say that? Kind of. There's something in you that kind of needs to... Oh, wait. Okay, sorry, I had to kind of think this through. This is your ego. And your ego is surrounded by thinking, by swords. See, as you can actually see, there's only one sword that's actually piercing this ego. And instead of seeing it as like a threat, maybe it's like this ego is shrouded by thinking. And there's time, and this one sword putting it through, it's like saying, you know what, ego? I'm done. I'm done with all this thinking all the time. I need to start listening to my body. I need to start connecting to it. And I think the Ten of Swords, it's also like you've come to that point in your journey where you're like, I can't keep doing this. And I know I can't. I guess you know, you think it, but you feel it. And this is where you have to go to your ego and just say, you know what? Pierce it. And say, you can coexist with your ego. I'm not saying don't think things through. Thinking is a very important part of our life journey. Of course it is. I'm just saying you need balance. You need to integrate the dark and the light. And the only way to really integrate the dark and the light is for you to recognize that dark side. Feel it. Don't think it. You don't have to be like, why am I sad? Don't try to understand it. Just feel it. Just let it out of your body. And this is a little bit of the death to the ego, death to the thinking for your next chapter to come. Okay, so I have more cards that I've pulled for you. So we have the Eight of Cups, the Three of Swords, the Three of Wands, and the Ten of Wands. Okay, so let's see. Let's have these come up. Okay, so what are we trying to see here? What's left? So I feel like the Eight of Cups, we'll start here. The Eight of Cups, it's quite like fitting with what we've actually been talking about. So Cups is related to the element of water, which is related to the element of, which is related to emotions. And there's an emotional situation where you're leaving. And it's interesting to see all these cups have spilt out. And it's as though like you are so done with a situation. You are so done and you are ready to grow. You are ready to progress into this next chapter, this next phase. And I think there's a lot of intuition. I guess the eye for me, I always think of like intuition or your third eye. Oh, yeah. So the eye, I think of the chakra, the third eye, which is about intuition, is about knowing. And I think you feel very called to take these steps. But of course, there's a lot of, I'm not going to lie, there is a bit of pain here. There's a bit of like sadness and there's a lot to work through here. But emotionally, you feel very ready for this. Thing you've known for a long time. Now, the Three of Swords. So, the Three of Swords. What's this trying to say? I think it's going back to kind of the pain I was talking about. I think and also the sadness that I felt. Like, I still kind of feel it a little bit. Like, there's a lot of sadness here. There's a lot of pain. And maybe you haven't always been like allowed yourself to feel that pain, And I think it's keeping you a bit stuck. Why this like Queen of Pentacles is upside down, like there's this pain in your body, and I think your mind has kind of bullied your heart a little bit, like saying that, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this pain. Oh no, this isn't good. Again, because swords, air, intellect, thinking. But it's hurting you. It's hurting you to think this one through because you're not listening to yourself. And I think, you have started this project, like going back to this, you have started this project and you are so excited for it. And like I said, you are wise. This branch looks so wise and there's so much growth and there's excitement. Yet these are kind of the things that have been holding you back, but you feel so ready to start this. I'm kind of loving the pattern. Like, this is like, you are ready for this next step. You are ready to go in and be this, growth mindset, this novice in this field. And here, yeah, the Three of Swords, like, but you're not letting yourself feel. And that in and of itself makes you sad. One is like, maybe you're sad because these are emotions that come up. But another is that your mind is trying to control your heart. And that is sad. And again, I feel this wave of sadness. It's okay. It's going to be okay. And, if people are feeling sad, I encourage you, pause this video, take that time for yourself. Because maybe also this is the first step that you needed to really recognize that emotion and say, you know what, I see you. I don't want to keep pushing you away. Because when you push it away, you're not honoring it. You're pushing it deeper into your body, and then things fester or they get stuck. And then you can't move forward. You get blocked. So yeah, okay. I did not expect, I'm really tearing up. Is this just me? Is anyone else? Okay, if you are in this pile and you feel sad like me, it'd be amazing if you could write in the comments if this resonates at all. So we're moving on. So it's interesting also, you have 3 and 3. And you have, well, that's 8 and 8 and 10 and 10. Wow, there's a lot of synchronicities here. I love that. Okay. So, like, we can also go into the numerology of, like, what all this means. I am more excited to talk to you about these. But as we're on the topic, 8 in numerology is the number of power and like money. It's the most material number. And yes, you can say like it's the powerhouse basically. So I'm also very into numerology, which again, I also see it as like a self-help tool, like astrology and human design. So you can look up your life path number, which is basically your birthday all added up into a single digit, except if you're 11, 22, or 33. Those are master numbers, and they have their own kind of meaning. So 8 is the powerhouse. They are really what this number has to do with is power. And also maybe that is also something that you need to find balance in, this, like, I don't want to say a power struggle, but it's maybe like finding, okay, I am going to say power struggle. There is a power struggle to get this balance. And maybe you're trying to also figure this out of like how to get there. And there is a stage you have reached where you are ready to up-level your power. So yes, so the 8's fantastic. 3 is usually the number of like, I was going to say like a party. Like 3 is like the number of like a party. You're 3 people come together having a good time. But in numerology, it's usually called the sunshine number. I know that doesn't quite work here, but we're also going to take the meaning of the card, but also what 3 in numerology means. So it's a very social number. It's about like you going out there having fun in a social setting. And I obviously know that this card doesn't quite depict that number, but we look at the meaning of the card, but also what 3 in numerology means. And yeah, that's what it means. So it could be encouraging you to go out, be social, just have fun. Feel that sunshine. Now, 10, in numerology, 10 would then be added up into a 1. And so 1 is the leader. You know, it's the first number. It's here to lead. And you could be leading this project or this business that you have. You are the leader. And it's about really stepping into that. A little bit of like numerology here. 8, understanding the power dynamics, maybe stepping into your power a bit more, which you're so ready to do. 3, be social. I also think it's like when you start your own business or project, it's easy to want to isolate and just be by yourself. And at times you do need that like downtime for yourself. But maybe it's also saying don't forget your friends, your family, but maybe also this could help in your business. Like don't forget networking. Be present in that. And 10, or 1, I should say, lead. You are a leader. Believe in that. I know these cards say something else. And again, like I said, we will look into the meaning of that. But step into your leadership. Lead. Now, going into the meaning of these cards. So here, again, wands is related to the element of fire and doing, like we talked about here. This is, you're ready to take action. You're ready to do. You know, you're standing on this horizon and see the world in front of you, and you are so ready. You know where you are going. You're pointing in that direction. And there's so much like, I guess, magic. It feels very magical. Like it's, you know where you're heading kind of thing. Or maybe you don't know where you're heading, but the idea of moving forward feels good. And there's so much growth. There's so much learning that's going to come to you, but it feels so good. And here, 10 of Wands. So I wonder if you feel overwhelmed. That, you know, you do know where you're going. You have that idea. You have that vision. And you want to take action. That's what also this is saying. That like you are so lit up by this. And you have that plan, but you feel overwhelmed. And that is totally fair. Like there is so much going on. And when you start a project or a business, there's so many things to keep afloat. There's so many things to juggle. And if you are in a capacity where you can delegate, I highly recommend you delegate. I know delegation doesn't come easily to everyone, but I would say that when you're able to delegate tasks that drain you and you're able to focus on what really lights you up, I've heard many entrepreneurs say this, that's when the magic happens. Here, magic, literally the magic happens. and you can focus on what you do best, and that will bring that growth that you're seeking. So if you're not able to delegate, I think it's also, it's overwhelming. Maybe you have to break it down and make sure that you do get to this place of like doing what you love. Of course, don't forget the tasks that are draining to you. Sorry, I'm just burping a little bit, which I heard can happen when it's like,
Hey, it's me again. As I was editing, I thought I would come and explain the burping. So, in a spiritual context, burping is often considered a sign of energetic release or like a clearing. And it can often occur during activities like energy healing, meditation, breath work, other spiritual practices. I guess also like reading tarot counts into that. So, it's this idea that stagnant or negative energy is being moved or processed. And often it's quite a positive thing happening. So I thought I'd just come in and explain that.
if you're feeling overwhelmed, know that it's completely normal with what you're going through. And if you have the capacity to delegate, definitely do. So now we're going into some oracle cards. So we have the Moon, Protection Guardian. Okay, I should also read these. Moon, take note of intuitive messages. Protection Guardian, drop your shields. Trader, exchange energy to create abundance. Direction Guardian, choose your path. Shaman, trust in higher forces. Okay, so let's get started to be like, what do these mean? So the Moon. So again, take note of intuitive messages. So this is really connected to what we've been talking to earlier. The Moon, I always see is associated with like the feminine, which what we've been discussing is more in tune to your body. And that's where those intuitive messages are coming. And it's kind of what we're saying, that like that blockage, but the cards are saying, listen to your intuition, listen. And what I also love is like, this is like, looks like a moon. Looks like I like how it's got like the similar lines around it. And yeah, so again, encouraging you, listen. Protection Guardian, drop your shields. So this one, I think it's quite interesting because there is a part of you, and let's say, the ego, that has wanted to protect yourself. And so this is a very common thing that like we might have, from childhood, where we didn't feel it was safe to really feel our emotions. And when that happens, you are taught that, okay, showing my emotions or feeling my emotions can be a bad thing. And I need to protect myself. It's a bit of like a survival thing. And, this is where the ego comes in. There's never like a malintent as to why you don't feel your emotions. Often it's because you didn't feel you could do it safely. And it was easier for you to just like, suppress. Turn it inwards, to like, don't feel them. And it feels as though this card is saying that protection that you had as a child, now that you're an adult, it's okay for you to drop your shield. It's okay for you to finally allow you to connect to these emotions. What I also really like is like these peacock feathers. And we all know that a peacock is a very confident animal. And so it's like, be your confident self. You don't have to, hide behind this shield, this ego that's protecting you. And what I also really like is like her head. It reminds me of a sun. And in tarot, sun means, to be your authentic self. And I love that there's this like idea that you need to be your authentic self. That's where your confidence lies. And I also really like that she's like dropped her shield. You can barely even see that she's really holding a shield. And she comes with, in peace. it's very common that in childhood that we develop these survival techniques. And I will say that, like, I don't want to be, mean to anyone's parents. I'm sure even if you had, like, fantastic parents and you loved them so much and came from a really good family, not everyone's perfect. And sometimes you, depending on the circumstances, everyone's trying to do the best in their capacity. But if your parents themselves didn't have the tool to fully know how to express their emotions, it's then taught to their kids that they can't express theirs. And often that can really hinder you. So, I don't want to speak ill of anyone's parents. I'm sure everyone, some parents really did do their best in the way that they were able to. So when I say that, these stem from childhood, it's very normal for that to happen. And I think as an adult, it's about, well, what are you going to do about it now? Like, is that how you want to continue to live your life, even if it feels draining or resistance? Or is it time for you to really drop your shield and just be like, hey, this is who I am, and I'm very confident in it, and I'm authentic. So yeah, this protection, this ego, thank it for what it's done, but know that this protection guardian is saying it's fine for you to drop it. Drop your shield. Drop your ego. So now we go to the trader. So exchange energy to create abundance. So I'm kind of feeling that this is related to like your business or like the project that you're working on. Like maybe some of you guys are, well, often if you have like a project or a business, you are selling your services for goods. So it's like exchange. And if you think of everything as energy, like you are creating this product, whether it be a physical product or an online product, you are putting that energy into it and then you're exchanging it to the world, to your clients, to your customers, and through that you will create abundance. So it's kind of like if you needed that like that affirmation or that encouragement that you putting in this time and energy into your business is going to create abundance. You are going to, yeah, it's a very, I think it's positive. Also this pillow is kind of like reminding me of like an Etsy shop or something, but yeah, whatever it is that you do, exchange your energy to create abundance. The energy you put into a project, you will get it back. So now direction guardian, choose your path. So again, what I really like is this eye, like we talked about here, intuition. And again, this compass, we also said like this I kind of like noted was like a North Star. So yeah, it's got that inner compass, that North compass. And I think it's about like kind of tapping into this and really understanding what direction do you, like which animal are you? And I also kind of feel like it's been easy for you to want to think your way through this. Like, I want to be a lion. I want to be a lion so bad. But maybe you're more of this, I think, is it a buffalo or an ox? I kind of think it's an ox. Okay, I need to maybe, if people know in the comment section what animal this is, I think it's an ox. I'm very sorry if is it just a cow? But anyway, and an eagle. So I think it's easy that like, oh, I want to be a lion because lions are really cool. Who doesn't want to be a lion? But maybe if you really dropped into your intuition and followed you, like who you feel that you are, you might be more of this cow. And cows have a lot of strength and positives of being a cow. In India, cows are holy. Who doesn't want to be holy? Maybe you're more of like that wise sage that's like really grounded. That's awesome. Another way I was thinking of it was like it could be a Leo, a Taurus, and then an eagle. In my mind, it's like connected to Aquarius, just because like Aquarius is like a visionary, and eagles would have like that like big picture thinking. And also they're like air, they fly, so Aquarius is an air sign. But yeah, if anyone has any like ideas of what an eagle could be, like the equivalent zodiac sign of an eagle, do drop them in the comments, because I am so curious to know, does Aquarius make sense for this, or I don't know, wild one? But yeah, I think it's basically to like tap into your intuition and be the animal that you feel is right to you. You can be a lion, but if that gets really draining to be a lion, you don't have to be a lion. You can be an eagle. You can be an ox/cow. And there's so many strengths in any of them. And especially because if that's who you authentically are, it's going to feel so aligned. It's going to feel so good. So now, shaman, trust in higher forces. So I'm wondering if, we've been talking about the mind. And often when we have a lot, like when we think a lot and we're trying to control things with our mind, we don't have faith in higher forces, or like the universe, or if you believe in God, whichever word resonates more with you. But this idea that there is a higher force, and I will say the universe always has your back. Always. It might not be what you think you want, what you're thinking with, but it is for your ultimate best. And I think when you are trying to think your way through things and try to plan everything, you are so like the opposite of letting go. You're not letting go to the idea that you have faith in something bigger than yourself, that good things can really come to you. And what I also really like is that there's another owl. Here's an owl and there is an owl. And owls, they have a lot of wisdom. Also nocturnal. But I think it's quite cool to see like all of the, I guess, synchronicities, like with the numbers, the 10, the 8, the 3, the owls. I guess is feathers. Could that be something? Yeah, I mean, like 3 of these had feathers. Yeah, I wonder what the spiritual meaning of feathers is. Maybe that's something we can look up. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. And again, I also like how there is like these round, it's like all the moons. Your intuition. But yeah, know that the universe has your back, and you need to trust and have faith that good things will come. And I mean, this card is also kind of saying that, like, when you put in aligned work, like, I believe very much that, you call in things, you want things to happen, but you have to take aligned action. And this is kind of encouraging you that this exchange of energy, like you putting in the work, will lead to the abundance that you seek. You just have to trust. You just have to know that it will come. Yeah. Okay, so I have these last cards, which are self-care cards. They have a cute picture and then a quote at the back. So we'll look at the picture and then we'll turn them over and read the quote. So, patience. It is safe to wait. So maybe some of you guys are feeling a little, what's the word? Impatient with yourself. Impatient. Why is there this block? Why can't I just feel the emotions and be done with? Maybe why is this taking so long, this abundance? But know that you need to have patience with yourself. This is a lot of inner work. This is a lot of process. And often it's also a mindset shift. So patience. Have patience with yourself. Choice. Ooh. That's so interesting. And for some reason, I feel like it's like linked to this because it's a like choose your path choice. Again, guys, the synchronicity. Worry less about making the right choice and more about being strong enough to handle any outcome. Ooh. That one really hit for some reason. I think this is where the thinking comes in. I think this is where it's like that control of like, you are worried about making the wrong step. You are worried about, making the wrong choice. And this is where your faith has to come in. That knowing that even if you make the wrong choice, or maybe not wrong choice. Let's say you make a choice and it doesn't have the ideal outcome that you want. Know that you are strong enough to handle the outcome, and know that the universe has your back, that either this was a lesson you had to learn or it wasn't for you. I do sometimes think that even if we have a step back and it feels the wrong direction, maybe you just had to learn those lessons. Or maybe you just had to embrace it. I mean, like, embrace the journey of life. And that will take you to where you're meant to go. But if you work on something and it doesn't hit it off right away, know that that doesn't mean it's not meant for you. I do think as you keep trying and if you keep feeling resistance, that's when you have to start asking, is this really for me? But do try. Do give it a fair shot, even if you have to give a few attempts. But just worry. Don't have this worry in your head. Really trust in your body, trust in your intuition, and have faith. You are strong enough to handle any outcome. And that is also this confidence that we're talking about, is that by you being you, and also you're a leader, that's what the one is saying, you can handle this. So choice. Okay. Needs. Ooh. Oh, I like that she's like in a pool, but it's also this clock. That's so interesting. Okay. Do you need more time to yourself? A break from thinking too much? Oh, again, the thinking. A kind encounter with a friend? Oh, the 3 of the social number. Your needs matter, and it's time to honor them. Okay, let me just read this again without interrupting myself. Do you need more time to yourself? A break from thinking too much. A kind encounter with a friend. Your needs matter, and it's time to honor them. So, often I think when we start a new project or a business, it's obviously easy to just want to focus on that. But as I'm talking, I also just realized that, like, your body is crying out for a need to be seen. And that is something that, you need to listen to your body and take that in. And of course, it's also talked about, like, a break if you're working too much, encounter with a friend, have that social number come through. So it is about tuning in and listening to what you need. I think it's easy to want to just, like, as you start a new project, that you, like, tire yourself out, but you think, like, I have to keep working. But that's not sustainable. You need those breaks. And I keep thinking of this clock. What's time got to do with this? But I think we fear we don't have enough time. And don't get me wrong, I get it. Time's a finite resource, but you need time for your needs. And if you don't, you won't be able to do it in the long run. And that's ultimately what you want. Like, you have this, like, passion for this thing and you really want to, like, make it happen. And I think seeing this is also about, like, knowing yourself and knowing that you have needs that you need to tend to. And that is so normal. And have patience as you work it through. Okay, the last card is feelings. Oh my God. I cannot get over that this is the last card, feelings, as we have been talking about emotions, feeling your feelings. really being there for you. I cannot get over the synchronicities. Also, I love that they have the same position of like feeling, tuning into your heart, really feeling it. Love that. Oh my God. Okay, what's the quote? Healing begins with feeling. Be gentle with yourself and tender with your heart. I am in awe over how these cards just had this like synchronicity to them. And this is just like like I swear I did not see this card before starting, and I just love that that was just the theme. Like that is what I've been talking about. You need to feel your feelings. That's where you can really heal. And I think the more that you heal, you're going to see such improvements in your work. You're going to see such improvements in your relationships, even the one with yourself, which many people say is the most important relationship that we have. So when you can start showing up for yourself the way that maybe your kid or your inner child, because I also love inner child work. It's great. So if anyone's ever curious about inner child work, sometimes when we feel emotions, sometimes it is just about feeling them. Just feel your emotions. But sometimes it's also about doing this inner child work. For me, at least, looks like, let's say you're feeling this pain or you're feeling discomfort. You're feeling something, you're not sure what it is. And you can ask yourself, okay, is there an inner child or a younger version of myself, maybe I should say, because sometimes I've asked myself this and it's like a version of me from like 5 years ago. There's a version of me that then I see in my mind's eye steps forward. And sometimes it could be like a 4-year-old version of me. And you go up to that version and you give them a hug and you say, I'm there for you. And maybe you can even explain or ask, why do you feel this way? Is there any like information you can give me? Sometimes there's not. Sometimes you just have to speak to that inner child and just hold them, hug them, know that you're there for them, know that you can do this together. Like you do not have to do this alone. You will be with them. You love them so much. And just doing that work can just be so beautiful. Of course, it starts with you feeling. You gotta feel to heal. And you have to be gentle with yourself and tender with your heart. And I will, having done the work myself, it does require patience. I have in the past gone, like myself, being impatient with myself and thought, why am I not okay? This work has been going on for what feels like too long. But I just had to, be patient and know that I can't rush this. It needs to take the time that it takes. I cannot control everything. I have these needs and I need to just listen. I do think obviously you can reach a place of just wallowing. So there is a bit of a fine line, but even if you're not feeling 100% okay right away, and it's maybe been like weeks or months, and you think, am I wallowing now? Maybe that's just the time you need to give yourself. And yeah, I think we will know when we wallow. And I think sometimes we also just have to check into our bodies and say, is this enough? Have I been going on for enough? And sometimes the answer is yeah. But yeah, I am just in awe that this was our last card. And yeah, I hope you liked the reading. Definitely let me know if this resonated. Let me know if this made sense to you. Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. So definitely leave any comments and yeah, give the video a like if you liked it. I think it's just like good to get feedback. Does this hit? I don't know. But if you've joined me here and you made it this far into the reading, I thank you very much. And yeah, I hope you liked it. Hi everyone, welcome to pile 2. So if you chose this is a Sodalite tower, a Sodalite crystal. And Sodalite is linked to communication and intellectualism. So it's is thought to improve clarity, insight, and intuition. Sodalite is also known for creativity and self-expression, so it's sometimes called the poet's stone. So it's recommended for creatives, like artists or writers. So yeah, you maybe felt drawn to it. It is a really pretty color. I also kind of like that. It's different, 2 different shades or 3 different shades. But yes, let's get into your reading. So this is going to be about how to boost your confidence. Maybe you feel some blockages in your confidence. You're thinking, why can't I overcome this? So we're going to find out today what the cards have in store. So let's put them up right. Okay, the 6 of Wands, the 9 of Swords. Oh, and the Sun card. Oh, very interesting. So, let's start with the 6 of Wands. So, the 6 of Wands often is a card, in the traditional tarot, is often a card of celebration. So, Wands is associated to the element of fire, which is associated with action, doing, taking action. And 6 of Wands is usually a card of celebration, of like, you've just come home, there's a victory. In the traditional tarot, there is a person riding a horse and there's like a big celebration. But I'm trying to, as well as the traditional tarot, I also like to do my, like an intuitive read of what this card particularly is trying to say. And that can also be just by looking at the images and seeing what kind of calls out. So, I think there's a lot of like, I think what's kind of sticking out to me is like the dots. I don't know if you can actually see them, but they're like all these dots around. And I think it's like there's a lot of magic in the air. There's a lot that's going on that's really abundant, that's really going well. You have a lot of attention. Like, these look like eyes, don't they? You have all this attention on you. And it is a really good place. Yet I can't get over how this bird looks worried. He's looking off. He looks worried. And it's as though it's like this head is disjointed from like the body of what's going on. Like, good things are happening, there's attention, and it's like good attention. It's not like you feel watched. It's not that. It's eyes are on you because you're doing a good job. Yet you feel really disconnected from it somehow. You look panicked. You feel maybe you have imposter syndrome, or maybe you feel like, how am I doing this? This isn't me, or like, this is too good for me. Although you have a lot to celebrate, you still can't help but feel stricken by it, or like overwhelmed. There's something there that's making you feel detached. Okay, but let's see what else the cards are saying. So the 9 of Swords. So in the traditional tarot, 9 of Swords can often signify like nightmares. Like, it's keeping you up at night, kind of that kind of a vibe. That's what the traditional card means. Obviously, when I do intuitive reads, sometimes that meaning doesn't necessarily have to be the exact thing. I always say take what resonates. But of course, this is something to think about. So 9 in numerology is the last single digit number, and it can often mean endings, that it's maybe the end of something, but with an ending always comes a beginning. So it might be an end of a chapter, but that doesn't mean that it's a complete nothing. There is something that comes after that ending, but just in this chapter. Swords is related to the element of air, and air often is associated with intellect, with thinking, which I guess this Sodalite was also kind of touched on. So it could be that you're very caught up in your mind about something, and I mean, yeah, like I said, the traditional tarot, it's like you're caught up in your mind, it's keeping you up at night. But let's see what this is trying to see. This card is trying to say what like sticks out. I don't know why I'm like noticing this green behind it. It's really random because I've never thought much about this green, but today it's really sticking out to me, this color. And it's a bit like you're trying to find this opening to get to this, but you can't really find your way. It's like the green is where you want to go, you know, like how things are always greener on the other side. You're trying to look for this green, but you're going about it in such a way that you feel lost. You know, you're trying to find it by going in between these swords, by thinking your way through it, and it just feels like it's evading you. It feels elusive. And, you know, what else is it trying to say? I also think like this red, it just feels like they look like they're being heated up. And it just feels like you've been burned, basically. That you've taken all these turns, but you keep feeling that you get burnt. And you feel a little, I'd say, desperate to try to get to this greener pastures. And I think you've been looking for quite a while, but feeling really stressed about it. I also really like these handles. I feel like I like how they're glowing. That's also a very random thing to notice. I don't know why in this card I'm suddenly noticing the most randomest things, but that's kind of what I've always encouraged myself to like pick up on. Like what am I seeing? What's standing out to me? So first it was this green, and then it was the red, and now it's the yellow. And what does that mean? I think I'm also drawing that like this card's yellow, this card is yellow, and this card has yellow. So it feels a little bit like maybe that's a link between them. But I don't think I've fully understood what that link is. But I can't help but feel like these are shining like this. Now this card, we might have to get back to that because let's put that on pause for now. But the Sun card. I love the Sun card. It's actually one of my favorite cards in the tarot. And the reason I love it so much is because it means to be authentically you, to shine bright and to be full-heartedly you. A fun fact is also I have a tattoo of a sun, and it was very much inspired by the Sun card in tarot. Well, at least the meaning of it, to just be authentic. And I think when you're authentic and you're aligned with yourself, you shine. You can't help but shine. So I think this is just a really encouraging card that although you're feeling a bit disconnected from the good in your life or the abundance that you're receiving, it's like you're having a hard time receiving it. You're not allowing yourself to receive it. And you keep thinking that there's greener pastures elsewhere, and you're looking, but you keep getting burnt because you feel so lost. But I also think this is the end of a chapter because I think you're stepping into your sun, like into yourself, because when you do, you will feel so aligned. I also think like these look like moons. I know there's like several of them, but they look like a moon, and the moon I always say is linked to feminine energy, which is linked to intuition. So this capybara, it's like, because this is a capybara, the animal, you need to really feel into your intuition. And once that's kind of aligned, see how aligned they are, it's only then you can really shine. And you have so much growth, you have so much warmth, you have so much... I mean, I think that's when you can fully actually appreciate this celebration. And maybe that's also when you can remove these swords. Like, I think also the color is what's like kind of drawing me to these, like the yellow here, these eyes. It's like, you will only really be able to appreciate these eyes once you feel so aligned to yourself and know that this is your true nature. It's only then you can really appreciate it. Because now the head is red and it's just not, you don't trust that this is for you. But it is. It so is. And this as well. It's like you can only really wield the sword and remove these obstacles once you feel aligned. I think that's what I'm kind of seeing. It's as though these handles, I just imagine someone taking the handle and removing the sword, because now, because you're so aligned, you can wield this sword. And that sword's not an obstacle. It's something for you to, maybe it's a lesson that you've learned and now you know how to wield it. And again, this has to do with confidence, but I think just a big message is to just, once you embrace the full of your yellow, these things won't be as daunting. Okay, let's see. I have some more tarot cards for you from a different deck. So I have the Page of Swords, the King of Wands, the Two of Wands, oh, the World, and the Ace of Swords. Okay, so what does all this mean? So let's start at the Page of Swords here. So again, swords, it's intellect, it's thinking, because it's related to the air element. A page, if you think of the archetype of a page, it's someone who is a beginner. You're new at something, or you're starting something new. Maybe it can mean that you have a new idea, and it's like, I so rarely say this. What came to me was like, by George, I've got it. I don't know where that came from. That's really random. But there is a bit of that energy of like, I have this great idea and I feel so excited about it. And maybe it's an idea that like once you kind of feel aligned, because I feel like the energies kind of match here of like, oh, and also I guess I'm looking at the yellow, the sword. You're finally, oh my God, this is like, love that. That's maybe what I was saying, that like it's someone wielding the sword and it's like, wow, I can finally remove this obstacle. I'm new at this. I'm a page, but I am so happy that I have understood this. And I guess, the more you do, the better, it's just about practice. The more you'll get in, like, you'll know how to do it. And then we have the King of Wands. So again, wands, like this is also a wand card. Yeah, I'm just noticing you have swords and you have wands for all of them. And then you have we have two of these. These are part of the major arcana cards. So tarot is split into the minor arcana and the major arcana. And the major arcana is usually more like big picture things, maybe like the bigger arc of your life kind of storylines. Whereas the minor arcana can talk more about day-to-day things. I mean, it's all important, but I think they just can like be more, just speak to like different parts of like the journey. But yeah, so I love this. Wielding the sword. Yes. Okay, yeah, King of Wands. So, wands, action, fire. A king. If you think of a king, the archetype of a king, it's someone who is an authoritarian figure who's in their power, who rules, and because it's upright, it's also like the positive attributes of a king, of a ruler, and also could be, someone who's very much in their masculine energy. And masculine energy are things like taking action. It's that, it's like a straight line. It's doing. It's more that thinking. Whereas the feminine energy is more think round, think, a mother's curves, think grounding energy in the sense of Mother Nature. And so, yeah. So, yeah, going back to the King of Wands, I think this is telling a little bit of the journey of like, here is a little bit where the struggle is. But once you kind of feel aligned, this is kind of also what's going to kind of come after that. So once you've kind of been able to feel more aligned, and it might feel like a bit of a jump, right? That like you're currently here, but you have to get here because then the rest will happen. And maybe you're asking like, okay, but this feels like such a jump. And I agree. It's a bit of like, okay, how, I guess this is my journey, but what actions can I take to actually get here? And sometimes it's as easy as following your intuition. And that also can be, what does that even mean? And I think part of it is also self-love. No. Okay. I'm saying two different things. Following your intuition could be as small as what do you want for dinner tonight? And often it's easy to be like, I don't mind. But actually really lean into it. What do you want? What could be good? So you can take these small steps to start listening to your intuition, and the more practiced you become, the bigger questions also become easier, because I think it's very easy to get stuck in your head. So you have to go from a process of being stuck in your head to maybe more into your body, and tune in maybe more to your body, because our body has a lot of wisdom. And for pile one, I mentioned human design. I'm a big fan of human design. It's like, essentially, it's very similar to astrology. It takes, the time you were born, and depending on where, like, the planets were, you'll get this thing called the body graph. And it's all very detailed. Human design is very deep. But the three things that are really good to know with human design is your energy type, your authority, and your strategy. That's like the equivalent of like sun, moon, and rising. So human design, same as with astrology, I see these as like tools that can help your introspection, because I've said this earlier in the reading, always take what resonates. If you, for instance, I'm an Aries, my sun is an Aries, I didn't always relate to that. I always thought it doesn't quite sound like me. And the more I've gone into astrology and learnt, I've realized that we have a whole birth chart. There's a lot of different elements to us. But also, maybe there were elements that I couldn't fully see because I wasn't so aligned to myself. And I think at that time it wasn't me, and I think that was totally fair for me to be like, oh, it doesn't relate. I can kind of see it in some ways, but not really. Same with human design. I say this is a tool that can help you be introspective and understand yourself better. And sometimes it takes a bit of practice, because human design, they say a lot about being conditioned. We grow up in an environment and we feel conditioned to be, a certain way that maybe it doesn't feel so true to us, doesn't feel so good to our body, but that's what we were brought up with. And there's nothing to shame, our parents or caregivers. They did the best they could, but sometimes it's about aligning within ourselves to be able to truly shine. So the reason I bring up human design is because we have 5 different energy types, which is how we kind of show up in this world, the energy that you're here to kind of expand. And underneath that, there's something called authority. And authority is kind of saying, how do I listen to myself? Like, it kind of explains how each person is able to kind of make decisions within themselves. And when you follow your authority, which is your strategy, is how you can take the most aligned action, which feels really good to you. So I think this is a reason why I've brought up human design, because, yeah, I say listen to your gut, listen to your intuition. Human design kind of has this teaching that everyone has a different way of interpreting their intuition. Like, some people who have a sacral authority, they do need to listen to their gut. They have a very like fast instinctive like, yeah, I have an answer. Someone else who has an emotional authority, they sometimes need to feel these big waves of emotions. They have to, really process and be in that. And only after that can they make a decision. And often they need to sleep on things. They need to wait a little bit and then know what to do. So it's easy for me to be like, listen to your body. And don't get me wrong, like, that can be great for like big decisions and maybe from a day-to-day, like, what do you want to have for dinner? Maybe it is just tuning into like, okay, what do I want for that or this? But it kind of starts with those small decisions, and then you can work yourself up. And it also, if you're into mindfulness and meditation, that's also a way of tuning in to really understanding. And it is about getting out of your head. So it's also like, what are activities that maybe stop this thinking, stop this overthinking, which, a lot of us are very prone to. It happens. Maybe even it's like taking a walk in nature, if that makes you feel more grounded. So I kind of wanted to cover that because I felt there was a little bit of a gap that, obstacle, oh, just align yourself. But that's a really hard, this is a big step. It's like, how do you actually do it? But I think going back to the 9, I think you're ready for it. I think you yourself feel like, I can't keep going like this. I am so ready to pick up one of these swords. I'm so excited. I finally have tools to really help me. And so I think, yeah, so you've lifted a sword, you feel more, I think you're going to feel like a King of Wands. So also in tarot, king or queen has nothing to do with gender. It can just be like the energy of this king. It's like you are taking action, you are feeling like in control, like in control of your life. You have a plan, you have a strategy, which is also like more of these like masculine energies. And I think you're just feeling really happy and pleased with yourself that you're sitting on this throne and you're taking action. And then we have the 2 of Wands. So I think I really love this because the 2 of Wands, this person is ready to explore. It's like you've done like this internal work, and now you are ready to take action. What's your game plan? What's your and I think that's kind of what I was saying here. What's the strategy? What are you doing? And I think there is also, I think an eye. So eyes usually are related to like intuition, because obviously the 3rd eye chakra, and that's linked to intuition, which I guess, again, this intuition. And I think it's just like, you are ready. You are so ready to take action on this. To be like, I'm going to conquer the world. And I think this infinity sign for me is also very much like, this energy is coming from within you. It's limitless. You can just keep going. Now, the World. So the World is a very favorable card in the tarot. It basically means that like everything you could ever want, you have it in your power to receive and to get, which is like the opposite of where you were feeling here, this panic. It's like you feel finally ready to be able to take in this abundance. Like, look at all this space that like you have the world in your hands, but it's also very loving. I don't mean it in like a domination way, which I guess if you look at the card, there is a little bit of this like world domination vibe, but I don't know if that's quite where we're going with this, because I guess I have more of that like loving, positive spin to it of like you feel in your own power, you have a game plan, and you're able to receive the world, and you're able to do it with so much love and so much, yeah, compassion and tender. And you know, I'm just looking at like the space, like to me it's just abundant. It's just so lovely. I also really like her hair. I like the pinkness. I don't know. I guess there's some pink there. I don't know if that's linked. Maybe that you finally feel you're able to take that in, this attention. Yeah, because it's also like a very similar shape. And then the Ace of Swords. The Ace is always the beginning of something. It's a new chapter. It's like you have a new idea. It's a new start of something. I do find it interesting that like there's this like rope here. It's almost as though it's like being mended. Oh, and it has the crown. Oh, I love that. It's like now that you're wearing this crown and you feel you've mended. And again, a sword. Like I keep seeing these swords. Like I know they're all swords, but I think it's just like the coloring of it is, it's just like they all look so connected. And it's that idea that like I said, what used to feel like an obstacle, it's now something that you can feel as like a tool, something to help you to overcome. It's this gem, and you fixed it. You've really shone your light on it, and you feel so much more in power of it. Yeah. So again, going back to confidence, it's a bit of like that alignment with yourself. It's about removing these obstacles that used to really weigh you down mentally. And that will just fire you up to take this action and just to be so ready to receive this abundance. Okay, I have some more cards coming, so let's see. So now I have some oracle cards. Okay, so Air Guardian, shift your perception. Oh, I love that. So I'll put them all out. Lady, enjoy growth and reap rewards. Ooh. Warrior, be fearless and stand strong. Oh, wow. Oh, these are really amazing. She-wolf, unleash the wild within. Guardian angel, you are not alone. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I really felt this one. I have to say, these are so cool to see. I actually have never seen these two before, so it's really fun to like see these in the deck. So, Air Guardian, shift your perception. I feel like this was so linked to what we were saying here. That like you feel stuck, and a lot of it is mental, and a lot of it is like you need to start shifting your mindset, shifting your perception. And again, air, which is the sword, which is intellect, it's all linked. Because once you shift your perception, it's going to really help you. And I know that, again, that's easier said than done. You can intellectually understand it, but you might not be able to like fully embrace it. And, you know, in my own journey, I struggled a lot with a negative mindset. And what really helped me was gratitude, was being grateful, like saying 5 to 10 things a day. 10 is maybe a lot, but at the time I felt like I needed it. You just say what you're grateful for, and it could be something as small as, I'm so grateful for my bed, to, I'm so grateful for having this job that You don't even have to say why, but you can say why. You to really like hammer home why you're so grateful for it. Like, I'm so grateful for this job because it nourishes me in so many ways. And I feel when I started doing that gratitude practice, it just really helped shift things in a very positive way. And it does take time and consistency. It is something that, like, it's not like you should do, oh, I did it 2 days ago. Oh, I need to do it again. It's good to be consistent, especially in the beginning. Do it daily, and you have to find what works best for you. Like, in the beginning, I wrote things down and I really enjoyed it in the beginning. But then after a while, I was like, this feels a bit like a chore. So I now just say things. And for me, that really helps. But in the beginning, I needed to write down. So for some people, saying it might not be enough. For some people, writing is a chore. So you just have to find what works for you. But this is basically like, you got to shift your perception in your mind. I really love her hair. Next one, lady, enjoy growth and reap rewards. I do think like this is also really linked to what we've been saying, because this is growth. Like, all of these things that we're like, you start here, but you are growing. And like I keep saying, you're so ready for this growth. And you will reap the rewards. This is what this card is saying. You will finally be able to take this abundance that you have, but you don't feel deserving of it. You don't feel you can like step into this. But this is very much saying that you can. I also really love this like nature vibe. I'm having a feeling like you need to spend some more time in nature. You need to go for some nature walks. You need to, yeah, really get this. Amazing. So, warrior, be fearless and stand strong. Wow. I really like the markings on his face and this green earring. I think it's a scary leap, from this to this. And although you're ready, I think this card is just encouraging you to be like, you stand in your strength. I know it's scary, but I often think what's scarier is not making any changes, is staying exactly where you are. So although this is a scary step, and we totally fine to recognize that, should recognize that, be strong. Because when you stay strong, you will get these rewards. You will get what you want. Unleash the wild within, the she-wolf. I think with this one, maybe, again, like intuition, like the moon. There's a part of you that feels that you can't release an aspect of yourself. And I will say it's very common. It's so common to maybe shame a part of ourselves or feel that, I don't know if that's like what I want. It could be as simple as the, she-wolf. I'm thinking also connecting more with your body, because a lot of this has been very mental. And maybe this card is kind of a little bit of this reminder of going back into the body, going back into this like more intuitive, this more feminine energy. And again, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it's more about energies. It's like, step into this more feminine, step into listening to your body, unleash what's within that here it says wild, but I just see it as energy. Just like release that energy that's within you. Really let it out. Yeah. Also kind of like the feathers. I feel like I'm really noticing. Trying to see where else there are feathers, but I guess here. Yeah. I think your body just also really wants to be heard and not be so controlled by all this thinking, even though I think you might be someone who is quite like cerebral and is quite like strategy and planning and things like that. And I think those are really great strengths, but it's also about balancing it with your intuition and your body. Guardian angel, you are not alone. Oh yeah, here's also a feather. No, this is really beautiful. And also, I love that it has all the symbols we've talked about. This is the symbol of sun in astrology. This is the moon. And this is the, intuition, the third eye, which, we've had eyes throughout the whole thing. The symbolism. And it's only when you really have this trifecta of all three, it's like, be your authentic self. Listen to your intuition. I guess they're both kind of saying that. But this is also body. I think this is also saying, like, be in your body. And when you have this trifecta, that's when you come alive. And I think, guardian angel, you're not alone. It's a reminder that you don't have to do this yourself. And, I do believe that we have a spirit team. A guiding team, like angels or guardian angels, or even maybe loved ones that have passed over. Maybe even spirit babies. And you can call for them for help in meditation or just asking for strength from them. You have this team who are rooting on you or supporting you. And it can also be in the physical sense, like people that you can you look up to, maybe you have a bit of this protector. But I do feel like this is your team saying that you are there connecting. I have to say, over the whole reading, I have also felt a bit blocked. And I wonder if it's also that some of you, you're just kind of beginning this spiritual journey, that there's still a lot to have faith in, I guess. And although some of what I've said resonates, maybe it's still hard to fully embrace and to fully let go of, maybe it's control, maybe it's thinking, and believe in things like guardian angels, your spirit team. And maybe this doesn't apply to all of you because this is a general reading, but if that does apply to you, just know that it's totally fine to be blocked. I think a lot of us feel this blockage, definitely. And if you're open and called to exploring this more spiritual side, and maybe it doesn't even have to be that spiritual, because sometimes just listening to your body, and our bodies have so much wisdom, that in and of itself doesn't have to be spiritual, because you're listening to your intuition. You're listening to what is right for you. And right now you're trying to think yourself out of something, and it's not working, because there's this element of self-love needs to come in, and fully accepting yourself and being aligned. Although in my own journey, that was a very spiritual practice of coming home to myself and being authentic to myself and using all these tools like astrology and human design. That was a very spiritual practice for me. I can understand that for everyone, maybe it's not that spiritual, but it's a little bit of that balance of getting out of your head, because right now you're your worst enemy. And I do get the sense maybe it's been a bit hard to kind of follow along in all this, because you don't want to let go of that thinking mind and just believe. Believe in this, believe that this could be saying something. But I want you to know, maybe you don't have to kind of go from 0 to 100. Maybe it's okay that, the fact that you've clicked on this video and maybe watching it to this point, there is something there that is resonating. And maybe that's enough for now. Maybe that's enough to just take that baby step. So I think I just wanted to like mention that because I could feel as I was reading there is something I'm feeling a block, and I don't fully know where that block is coming from, but there's a little bit of that unwillingness to fully let go. And maybe this is also a little bit what this is saying. And you have to work yourself up to this. You know, it's not easy to go from here to here. It's a journey. You have to be able to, yeah, you have to be able to get to this point. But yes, I have the last cards, and these are some self-care cards with a cute quote at the back. So we have beauty. Today, you are a curator of beauty. You are blessed with moments that let you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that all is well in the world. Man, you are a curator of beauty. Yeah. It's kind of like giving you this, it's very calming energy. It's a bit of that gratitude almost as well. It's like, take in this world. And also, like I said, I have such a strong sense that you need to spend more time in nature. You need to like soak it in and just be. Because your world is, all is well in the world. Now, I know there's a lot that's not so well in this world. I understand that. But sometimes when you keep carrying that energy day in and day out without a pause, it's tough. And if you're able to, and you have capacity to take some time for yourself, even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and not think about it and just be in nature, be maybe wherever you are, just be. It's a practice for sure, but I think it's really going to benefit you. Mind. Oh, that's so funny. We've been talking about the mind. You are the master of your inner world, and you decide how the outer world affects you. Cultivate a calm inner state. I love that. I also think it's because it has felt quite poignant in what we've been saying, that there's been a lot of thinking, a lot of overthinking, and I think there's been a lot of chaos in this inner world, and that has, by turn, made you feel your outer world has felt more volatile because of that. Maybe volatile is a bit too strong of a word, but you know the sentiment. And I think it comes from within, this need to cultivate a calm inner state. Because even if it's like raining and thunder outside of you, this calm is going to carry you through. I love that. It's almost like that nature is going to build within. Also, I really like the yellow. I just think like yellow is just being the theme here, right? Yeah, I guess yellow here too is protection. Ooh, passion. Ooh, and I also like it's right by the sun. Light up your life by honoring your deepest desires. Yeah. And I think that a lot can happen with aligning with yourself. And also maybe listening to your body. Maybe this is also where this passion is coming from, this wild energy. Because she looks passionate, if nothing else. And pamper. Man, that looks so nice. Just a bubble bath. Okay. Self-care is a necessity, not a luxury. I think a lot of you take on the weight of the world. I think a lot of you, really feel all this hardship happening in the world and take it on. And although that's a very noble thing to do, where are you in this? Where are you taking care of yourself and making sure that you are in a good place so that you can show up for others? Because I always think that if you can't show up for yourself first, how do you extend it to others? And Yeah, it's a little bit like the, when flying, in the announcements when they say when those air masks drop, you have to put on yourself before you can help others. And there's truth to that. It's that idea that you need to be able to be okay, and if you're okay, then you can help others. So remember, self-care, it's you need it. It's a necessity. It's not a luxury. So, yeah, to kind of recap how to boost your confidence, I think there is a bit of that, like, you are now stuck in your mind. And I think there's a sense of you that you feel like you're failing and you feel like you're not deserving. And I do think there is the talk of, yes, aligning to yourself, but also loving yourself, being grateful for what's in life. And when you start taking on these practices, because you are so ready, you're so excited, a lot will come in the sense that you will feel this abundance. And I think, yeah, when you do, that's when you will really shine. And I think that confidence piece, you'll become confident by just being you and being so rooted in you. And yeah, there's a lot to take in here. There's a lot of steps you can take, being mindful, being in nature, understanding how to tune into your intuition, listening to your body, listening to that, cultivating this mind that is calming for you. Yeah. I feel like I was gonna say it's the same. I don't think it's the same woman. I think it could be like sisters or cousins or something because of the hair. Yeah. But you have a lot of passion and fire in you, which is evident with these wands. So I think, yeah, there is that want following it, but it has to be aligned with you. You can't think that passion through. So yeah, a lot of inner work to be done. You're ready for it. You are gonna enjoy the growth, enjoy the journey. You're gonna reap the rewards. And yeah, I hope this helped. If this resonated at all, do leave a comment down below because I want to know if this at all hit home for people. Or if it didn't. Like, it's good for me to know, get that feedback. Yeah, and like and subscribe. Thank you so much.